everyone. Welcome to Bees Grow. I took this event over this week and we recently changed the name from Side Hustle to Full-Time to Side Hustle to Six Figures. And the reason for that name shift is because I don't ever want you to think that you should have to work full-time in your business. The goal is to not have to work full-time in your business. The goal is to be paid like you're working full-time, and that's why I decided to change it to Six Figures, because I feel like that's kind of the first goal for a lot of in particular solopreneurs when you're just getting started, is to try to get to Six Figures revenue. Now, one of the things I always talk about with people is that doesn't mean Six Figures profit, right? There's a difference between revenue and profit. And since we can't always control so much what our profit is going to be, I think it's better to set your goal based on revenue and then kind of look back on your year or first few years in business and start to kind of look at your expenses so that you can get an idea what those are going to be and how you can maybe reduce your expenses, increase your revenue, whatnot, to change how that profit lands out. And so a quick shout out to Martin Pringle. Thank them for sponsoring our technology. And I also want to say that at this event, it is a live business coaching. So we are live to the group on our Mighty Networks. So anybody watching there is seeing this, and it is recorded ever after. And so I want to make sure anybody who is here in attendance in person knows that our intention is to create a safe space for you to be able to be vulnerable, but in no time are you ever required to be vulnerable or to share anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing. And so I just want to make sure that even if I ask you a hard question, or as I'm coaching you, if you choose to be coached about your business or your career or whatever we have kind of going on, that you at any time are able to say, like, pass, like, I'm not going to answer that, like, and it's not going to hurt my feelings, it's not going to make me feel bad, we're going to just move past it, okay? So I just want you guys to know, whoever is in here in person, that is an option for you. And everybody who's watching online, we did switch the format of this recently, so it is only live stream. We're not going to be interacting with the people online, but you can ask questions in the comments or share comments, and that I will look at after the live, and I'll go back and kind of interact with you that way. But I'd love to invite you to come here in person. If you are one of our remote bees, you can submit questions to me prior to the event. So just put it on the event in Mighty Networks, what questions you have, and I will answer those during the event. So we are kind of shifting things with the Bees Grow. It was every Friday at noon with 4 different coaches. Now it's going to be the second Friday of the month with me from 12 to around 1, and the third Friday of the month with Abby Andra from 12 to 1. I'm going to be talking about going from what am I talking about? Side hustle to Six Figures, and Abby's going to be talking about going from a solopreneur to a boss. So I feel like these are the 2 major shifts that people are kind of making. We do still have an event that Karen is hosting on the first Monday of the month. She's going to rename that to This is Business Mama, which is like the name of her business. Doesn't mean you have to be a mom to attend. That's just the name of her coaching practice. And that's going to be more open for kind of wherever you're at in the process. And that's going to be an evening event. We're trying that for a little while to see if that works better for people. And we've kind of taken the career coaching one off for the time being, but that doesn't mean that you can't come to any of the coaches and ask about a career transition, because we've all been there. We've all been through that as well. So for this one, I just have a short little lightning fast thing I'm going to kind of run through, and then we're going to get on, and the people who are here, if you want any coaching from me, that's what we'll do. So I've done this presentation before on going from 0 to 6 figures. I feel like there's a lot of things that go into that, and from my perspective, I feel like this is kind of what all needs to happen from literally like the very beginning until you're maybe getting to that point where you can make 6 figures. And I'm going to go through it kind of fast, but I'll post the presentation so you guys can look through that later, and of course you guys can ask me questions after. So the first thing, let's say you don't even have a business yet, or maybe you have a business but you're not sure it's the one for you. It's really about brainstorming whatever your passions are and deciding on a business idea. So I actually have a notebook that has every single page for the first, 10, 15 pages. I wrote just different business ideas. I wrote an idea of different things I was passionate about. So I was passionate about photography. I was passionate about, watercolor art. I was passionate about like sustainable food, practices. I was passionate about co-working. I was passionate about writing. So I wrote down all these different ideas, and then I just brainstormed on each list. It just filled up the entire page of each one. And then I looked back after I was done with the exercise, and the one that had the most ideas on it, the one that filled the page the most, was co-working. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but that was one of the ways that I made the decision that this was the business idea I was going to pursue, is because I just couldn't stop talking about it, and I had lots of ideas and energy around it. And that doesn't make any of the other ones, bad ideas. I could have gone in that direction, and I kind of did in my past life a few times. I was a professional wedding photographer, and I did some other things like that. But I tried lots of different businesses before I found one that I felt like I could scale and take to the six-figure mark and beyond. So I would say create the thing you wished existed. So if you've ever had that moment where you say, wouldn't it be great if, that's a business idea. I remember when Jessica was starting her business with Wichita Coordination, I remember she was planning her wedding, and I think she had that thought a lot, like, wouldn't it be great if there was somebody that could really help me go through this and do it on my budget and all that kind of thing. And I hear a lot of our members say that, like, gosh, would it be great if? Well, anytime you say that, you're identifying a hole in the marketplace, a place where you could have a differentiating factor for your business. So the next thing you have to do is to perform target market research. Just because you think it's a problem doesn't mean that other people think it's a problem. And if you look at the histories of patents and creations and inventions that people have had over time, something that one person might have thought was a huge problem, oh, everybody's going to need this, everybody's going to want this, turned out to be a flop. In theory it sounds good, but until people will actually pay money for it, and that sometimes is something you come across. Like, people say they need it, and it even looks like they need it, and everybody even says that they want it, but they're not willing to put their money down. And until the money actually comes out, it's not a business. It's just a passion. It's just something fun that you do. And so what I did in my business is I created a Facebook group, and I added all my female friends to it that I knew that might be interested in this idea that I had. And I started sharing my journey. I started talking about it and saying what I was doing, and I got everybody really excited about it. And then I did a poll, and I said, if I were to start this space, like, what would you want? And I had options like yoga, massage therapy, like healthy meals at lunch and learns, content about growing your business, and how much would you be willing to pay for this? And if you, were to come in and co-work, what days would you come in? And I just asked them all the questions that were bouncing around in my head. And so I could actually have real data about what my potential clients would be willing to buy from me and would be interested in. So that target market research is huge. You can do that through something like, a group and a poll. You can also do that by getting a group of people together in person. And the Hive is a great place to do that kind of thing, because we have like 200 women in business in our community. And oftentimes, the businesses that you guys are starting are targeting those same exact kind of women. And so you've got your own target market in our community that you can test things out on. And they're usually willing to, come and try different mocktails and cocktails that you're putting together with essential oils. And they're willing to, have you do a website audit on them and, see if that's something they might be interested in paying for as a service, or talk about what their needs are when it comes to, publishing or branding or, wedding planning, whatever it is. Okay, so once you've done your target market research and you know that this is an idea that you're both passionate about and other people are willing to pay for, you need to figure out what your USP is. So what is your unique selling proposition? What makes you different from other people that are going to be doing the same thing? Now, I was kind of lucky when I first started the Hive. There was only one other co-working space in town, so we didn't really have any competition because it was all men in the tech industry, and it was like a really dark, Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel to it. And so we weren't really competitors, because it was like, you either want that or you want this, and they're very different, so it's pretty obvious. And now there's so many, right? So I'm actually having to get, more strategic about like, what is our USP? And I just keep leaning into the fact that, our main thing is when you walk through that door, we want you to feel welcome. We want you to feel like you belong. We want you to feel amazing. We want you to feel supported. We want you to feel connected to other women in business, and we want you to feel like this is a place where you can grow your business. And I feel like those are the things that really set us apart, is that we are focused on women in business, unapologetically so. So I always say that we're women focused, not women exclusive. Men are allowed to be here. We have men that are members, but that we're always going to focus on women in business. That's just what we do here. And so your USP should be so ingrained that you know it, your clients know it, everybody knows what it is that you do and how you do it differently than other people. And then you need to have a tangible financial goal. So this may not be something that you may fall short of it. You may like blow it out of the water, right? But you've got to have a goal, or you don't really know where you're going. And something interesting that I've found is I've set goals and then I've gone past them, and then I've kind of thought to myself, well, that doesn't count, that doesn't count, that doesn't count. And you need to count it. You need to count those things, because every dollar that goes into your bank account counts. Even if it was this weird circumstance that you feel like it's not going to happen again, or even if it was this weird like side thing that you did that wasn't really like directly but kind of associated with your business, it counts. Because you've set an intention and you put it out into the universe, or you've prayed about it, or whatever it is, and that's the thing that you've set the intention for. And so I had this situation happen to me where like I wanted to get to 6 figures. Well, I got to 6 figures, but in 3 businesses that I was kind of running together. And I was like, well, that doesn't count. I'm like, wait a second. When I set that intention, did I say that I want to get to 6 figures in this business? No, I just said it more generally. And so it teaches me when I'm goal setting to be very specific about those goals. It reminds me of like the genie in the lamp, right? Like if you're making a wish with Aladdin, you kind of have to say like, okay, I want to become a prince. But I want to become a prince and you have to have all these clauses that like make sure that you cover everything, because what if you become a prince of like that, green space over there? Like you don't want to be the prince of that green space, you want to be, have these certain things. Or what if you become a prince that doesn't have any money? Like you're a prince, but you don't have any money or a castle or whatnot. And so for me, I feel like a 6-figure is a really great like initial goal to just kind of set for yourself. It's a easy, I feel like it pushes a lot of people maybe out of their comfort zone, but it's not so astronomical that it's impossible to accomplish. And set a time frame around that. Now for me, when you're first starting a business, the first year in business, just keep in mind you're probably not going to make a profit in your first year of business, especially if you're a brick and mortar. And I do feel like I have to talk about that, because there is a difference between somebody who's running a business from home. You don't have a lot of overhead, But I also want to remind those of you who are running businesses from home that you still need to be investing in your business. So because you don't have overhead, I almost would say like still plan to not make a profit your first year and put that money back into, coaching and courses and, different things that are going to help you be successful in your business. So I would say that from my experience and the people that I've worked with, really like a 3-year goal before you're really kind of starting to like make something that you could maybe leave your day job for. And that's something I always talk about with my clients too. You've got to have I call it a sugar daddy. It doesn't have to be an actual sugar daddy, but like my sugar daddy was the loan from the bank, right? That was my sugar daddy to help me like relax so I could grow my business and know that I had, money to pay my own personal bills while I was doing that. Maybe your sugar daddy is like your personal savings, and you're going to use that. Maybe it's an actual sugar daddy. Like maybe you have like a significant other, male or female, that's like helping you, get your business going, and they're going to support and pay the bills while you get that going. But I do feel, maybe it's literally credit cards. Like that is for some people, whatever financial buffer you have to help you have a safety net while you're growing your business helps you not be stressed about it financially. It's really hard to be creative and grow a business if you are constantly like worried about paying your bills. So name your business. You can search availability in different entities. One thing to keep in mind if you are planning to go national or international is to maybe look into trademarking. It can be a pretty significant cost early on, so until you know that this is a viable business idea, I wouldn't spend the money. But that being said, you also want to be able to grow, and if somebody gets it between the time that you start your business and you make it official, but at least get your LLC in your state, right? So that you can make sure that you're protected for that industry. So making it legal, registering your business, getting your EIN. I don't remember what DOR stands for. Do you remember that?
No.
I'm not sure. Department of Revenue? No? That would make
Maybe.
sense. Your operating agreements, that kind of thing. We do have a partnership with Martin Pringle. They'll do this whole thing for you for $500 flat rate, which is really nice.
And they have an event on Tuesday.
And they have an event on Tuesday. Thank you. They have an event on Tuesday where you they'll start that for you. It's a $50 registration fee for that event. You can get it going, and then they'll apply that $50 towards your first time that you work with them on something. And then if you already have your LLC set up and you just want to make sure it's done correctly, they have a second event that is specifically for that. Again, $50. They'll look it over and make sure it's set up correctly, and then you can apply that towards your first engagement with them. Designing your logo, you can either do this yourself or hire a designer like Dawn to do it. Unless you have the skills yourself, I would recommend hiring somebody to do this. I did this myself, but I have a long background in, publishing. I did, yearbook and newspaper, and I was a photographer, and lots of different things like that myself. So I felt pretty confident in my abilities. I would say 75% of the people I know should not be designing their own logo. I'm just going to say it. And so using a professional is a great thing to do that, and it really does make a big difference. I would say your logo and your headshot make a huge difference in helping you look professional. Setting up your business banking, you can't do a lot of things without an actual business banking account. You'll need your LLC to set that up, so make sure that you do that. And it's good to have a banking relationship should you ever want to get a loan for your business. Setting up your accounting, making sure this is separate from the very beginning from your personal is really good to do. And buying insurance, because you may think nobody's going to sue you, but people can sue you. The second you start working with people, that can happen. So insurance it's not outrageously expensive, so it's just good to have some liability insurance. And we have, Hive members that do all these things. So make a website, at least a landing page. And I really recommend, honestly, landing pages for most people nowadays anyway. I think multi-page websites can just get really confused, and people are just they're gonna bounce off of there. They'll click around and then bounce off. So landing pages are super easy to set up. You can do those on like Squarespace, Wix, all sorts of places. Again, if you do not have a design eye, I would recommend hiring an expert to help you with this. Creating your social media accounts, you want to make sure that you use the same phrase for all of them. So like ours is The Hive Wichita on Facebook, on Instagram, like anywhere you go. On our website, like try to get it all the same, because that can be really confusing for people if they're trying to find you on social media and it's some weird name. So try to make them the same, and try to, before you set up the first one, search on all of them to see if it's available. Because if you set up your first one and then the next one's unavailable. So it might be something slightly different than your business name, because a lot of times they might be taken. So just make sure you set those up, but not all of them. Like, if you're not going to use a Twitter, don't have a Twitter. Like you could set up so nobody else has the name, but make sure that you have like in your bio, it says, we don't use this platform. Here's the link to our Instagram, go there. I've seen even giant companies do this, like Textron and different companies, like they'll claim the social media so nobody else gets it, and then they'll just not use it and forward it to another one. Make sure that you're doing that. Creating an email list and a sign-up form, because you don't own social media, so make sure that you're gathering people's information. You can do this for free through something like MailChimp. And creating a freebie download or a coupon. So depending on your business, especially service-based businesses, this is a really good idea to just kind of have this. It's something you can give to people as they ask about you. It's something that you can run promotions on from like social media ads and things like that. It's just a really good thing to have. It helps capture those emails, and it shows that you are delivering value before they even pay you. I've found that there's the freebie seekers, there's the like low entry point DIYers, and then there's like the people that are like, just do it for me, I can't. Okay, in every single industry. And
it depends on the phase of life too.
And we all go through that. Like there are some things I'm very much a DIYer for, and there are other things I absolutely am going to pay for. And so don't feel upset that not everybody wants to pay you for what you're doing. Go ahead and give those freebie seekers the freebie, because you don't know if they might later on become the person that will pay you, or if their sister might want to pay you, or if their aunt, you don't know who they might know. And if you've delivered them value, then they're going to remember you. And the people that you also want to have that kind of low entry point. So if your services start at like $500 or $1,000, you might want to have a low entry point, like course that they can go through for like $50 or something, because that gives them a taste of what it's like to work with you. And if you deliver a ton of amazing value in that, then they're going to want to work with you at a higher level, right? And then, a welcome email. This is the stuff that a lot of people don't do. They might have an email list, but they don't have anything that goes out immediately when somebody signs up, and you've missed an opportunity. Because then if they do get an email from you 6 months down the road, they're like, who is this? I've never heard from you before. I don't remember signing up for this. And then building credibility on Facebook and Instagram or whatever, systems that you're planning to use. I sort of feel like 1,000 likes is it's kind of like a social proof point. If I see a page that has less than 1,000 likes, I'm kind of like, are they really like that big of a deal? People actually pay this person, It kind of looks like very DIY. Like I see a lot of Facebook pages that have like 50 or 100 likes, and I'm just like, but you're telling me that you have been in the New York Post and you've this and you've that, and yet your social media doesn't have any following. That makes me suspicious. And so there is a way to do this, get to that point quickly through ads, and it's relatively inexpensive and easy to do. Launching a product or service by video, like this is a great way to, a lot of people don't use video for their business, and if you thanks for joining. A lot of people don't use video, and so if you're using video, you're ahead of the game. Like most businesses are not using video. And so if you have a way to show what you do by video, I think that you're already ahead of like 80-90% of people. And then sharing organically and through paid advertising. So doing both, always having a strategy to do both. It doesn't cost very much money at all. Like you can advertise for as little as $1 a day and make sure that there's always something going out about your business. The minimum I encourage people to at least have is to be retargeting people who visit your website, your Facebook, and your Instagram, because it's just such a lost opportunity if you're not at least doing that. Hitting them with something so that they see you again, because only like 1 to 3% of the people who like your page are even seeing what you post unless you do some sort of paid advertising. So just some basics that I recommend. Creating an email sequence to convert prospects to customers. So that's kind of an advanced level if you want to like walk them through a sequence so that it's auto selling them, right? Like you're not having this hand hold and talk to each person, but it's kind of selling them on autopilot. And then again, I will post this. Start now and improve as you go. So we get in our heads about being so perfectionistic about this, right? And that you have to have everything perfect and everything right. But I can tell you, I've been running my business for 3 years, and there are so many things that are not perfect. And there are so many parts of this that I don't even do consistently or all the time. And yet here I am, making money in my business and moving it forward. So if you get like stuck, thinking everything has to be perfect, just know that if you do start moving, you're doing more than, I'm just going to throw a statistic out there, like probably like 60% of business owners, like even by doing something, especially in the digital world. Like how many businesses do you drive by that have been there since like 1950 that are still doing just ads in the newspaper or like maybe a billboard, very old fashioned advertising, and they're still in business. Like they're still making it work. So if you're going to go into the online game, you're already ahead of a lot of what they're doing. And so that's my tips. And then I always remind people like to pick away at these types of things. Like most of these things could be done in about an hour. So, if it feels overwhelming for you, and again, like here's an example of, here's some free content, right? Now you can go DIY it yourself, or you can hire somebody to help you with it. I do give Hive members a discount on my coaching. So my public coaching is now $500 an hour. I've raised it over time, as I would encourage everybody to do. So my Hive member rate is half off that. So $2.50 an hour. If you ever want to just sit down with me and like have me do it with you, I'm very like do it with you kind of person. I'm a teacher by trade. So I like to empower you so that you don't need to pay me every time you need to do it. Like you know how to do it yourself. So you can do that moving forward. So there's a link for that, and I can post it in the comments of the video as well. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this off and go ahead and live coach for the rest of our time. And if anybody on the video has any questions, just pop them in there in the comments of the article. So, Dawn and Katie, what do you have for me today? Anything that you know have going on that you need some support or help with? Or any questions about what I went over? You know, I went kind of lightning fast.
Yeah. My only one that I'm coming up with top of mind here is for me in the phase of life I'm in, and this is probably accurate for most people, but time is definitely by far my most valuable resource. Mm-hmm. I can only prioritize like one thing at a time because I'm also full-time momming. And that's kind of where I get stuck is prioritizing, mm-hmm. you know, these things. Any advice or wisdom there? As far as...
I think that's a great point. So, the number one thing that I would prioritize out of that list is any of the things that are getting something working behind the scenes. So that would either be running an ad campaign mm-hmm. or having an email sequence working for you. So one of those two things, because when you do have that running, at least when you're doing these other things, you know your business is still working for you. So even when you're not meeting with a client in person or you're not, you know, running a class or something, you know something's happening. So, you know, I know you have campaigns from the class that we went through. Have you thought about something that, like, even beyond just like that funnel, but like something that could be a good retargeting ad for people that visit your Instagram, Facebook, and website? So imagine somebody goes to your social media, whether they're an existing client or somebody that's new, a new potential client. Now they go back to Facebook, like after they visited you, whether it's the next day or in 15 days, they go back to Facebook and now they see an ad from you that says, you know, something that kind of shows them that you kind of know who they are, like that you've seen ads like this, right? Where it's kind of like, do you want to finish your checkout process? Mm-hmm. Or do you know, that pair of shoes that you bought, you really like, sure you don't want those kind mm-hmm. of thing? So you can get as intricate as you want with it. You know, it can be based on pixels and what page of your website they visited and all of that. But it can also be just really generic. So it could be like, you know, hey, like I really want to get to know you even better. Like I'd love to grab coffee with you. Like here's the link to do that or something like that. Or one of your videos that kind of just tells your story a little bit more. Because I think most people are going to be like, whoa, mm-hmm. she's like in Wichita and she's like running a video ad to me. That's kind of cool. Oftentimes I'll click on things just because I see it's a local business. I'm like, it's a local business? So sometimes even if you can, and I know you can work with people even outside of Wichita, mm-hmm. but sometimes if you can even do something that shows that you're local or that you're real in some way. So like on your freeze screen of your video, your thumbnail, if you had like a Wichita flag in there somewhere, or if you had like something that showed them that you're like a real person and a local person, it's so rare. You wouldn't believe, and I know I've shown you guys in my courses, in different trainings that I've done, how you can look at businesses to see what ads they're running. So you can look at the ad transparency, page mm-hmm. transparency to see what ads they're running. You'd be surprised how many local businesses aren't running any ads at all. Any ads at all. And these are businesses that are, you know, making $1 million or more potentially. They're not running any ads at all. And it really is like a lost opportunity because everybody, I think, should at least be running that like retargeting to where they've just gone to your website, they've just gone to your social media, you can hit them again. And you can do it on, you know, I talk Facebook a lot, but you can do it on Instagram as well. I haven't personally had as much luck with Instagram ads. We've sold private offices from Facebook ads. I mean, like at least I would say 3 or 4 times, we've gotten like full-on private office clients out of Facebook ads. So I'm a big believer in those. I know I've moved my community off of Facebook for different reasons, but as far as like using its tools to promote your business, I'm still a fan of that. But I would say that one is like an ad that you could use to retarget to anybody who visited would probably be like my number one priority, so that you can set that and literally set it $1 a day and like just let it go and just like keep going. Because you're going to reach a few thousand people, each, I can't remember what it is per, but I would say like probably a couple thousand people a day potentially through that. And now eventually it will like season out because the audience in Wichita is not that big.
Yeah.
So you'll need to pick kind of different audiences or maybe even different regions to run ads to. But that would be the number one thing if I were to like pick one thing. Alternatively, if you're not wanting to run ads, it would be an email campaign. But that being said, you're going to have to find some way to get people on your email list.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't help to have an email campaign if you have nobody on your list. So, and that's where the freebie pops in. It's like that's a way to get people on your list. And that's something that you can use even when you go talk, or you give a class. Like you can let people know, hey, like if you haven't grabbed my 3 free tips for, yada yada, here's the link. And if you have, you can even sign up for like the text things. So like you can have it text them the link. If they text like wellness to 5143 whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes those things are worth it. Especially if you're speaking to a really large audience, it's nice to say that on stage to like 100 people, and then you build your list that way. So does that help answer your question?
Getting things going that work for you.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask some ideas for freebies in general, like what people are looking for as far as what help they need. That would be like something easy to give people.
So when it comes to freebies, I always think about what would people type into Google, right? So like so Dawn's a designer, and Katie does like sustainability and oils and wellness. So for design, if I were like how to make your own logo, or apps that help me design for my business, or what else have you maybe plugged into Google? Like how to find my color codes, or they don't even know what that is. How to pick colors, a color scheme for my business. That's the other thing to know real quick, is the terminology is not what they know. So you have to kind of almost go back to the very beginning of time when you started learning design and be like, what did I think about design at that point? What did I call things? Because I might use the word copywriting, and you guys might think that means like I'm making like I'm taking ownership of a piece of a painting. That's a copyrighted. But what I mean by copywriting is like the words on your website, right? Or the words on your social media. But unless you knew from that industry or you've been experienced with that, you would just be like, oh, you mean the words on my website? That's what you would say. Like how to write great words for my website.
There's a few different websites. Quora?
Quora? Like question where people type questions?
Yeah, where you can actually find out per like industry what the top questions are into Google. And it's a great place to start. I haven't done it yet. But I'm meaning to do that as just some market research of like, in your industry, what are the top questions people are asking? And that's a great place to start.
I love that. Yeah.
I think it's Quora. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, that sounds right. Another website
or how.com.
Another website is along the same thing. It's called answerthepublic.com. And you can type in a keyword and it'll show you all the questions that people are typing into Google around that keyword. So it's very similar. And for that, that's really great for content creating. So like things that you're going to post on your social media, or videos that you're going to record, or podcast titles or things like that. Because if you were to create a video and title it around every single one of those questions, you would dominate that search, right? So like that's kind of what I always think about from like a SEO or search engine optimization point of view, is if you could have like, if people are literally typing in what is design. How do I design? Where do I design? I don't know, just for example, like every question word and along this keyword, and what are the best designs? If you had a topic under each one of those questions, whenever somebody types any one of those questions in, you're liable to come up for it. But I would say as far as freebies, what I'm seeing more and more of is people just they like succinct content. So they like to be able to learn something in a few swipes on Instagram, right? Or like 5 minutes or less in a video. So if you're going over 5 minutes in a video, people kind of zone out. And so, for freebies, like succinct and highly valuable. What you want people to walk away from after your freebie is like, whoa, I can't believe she gave me that for free. I can only imagine what I get if I pay her, right? That's what you want them to walk away from. You don't ever want them to like get your freebie and be like, I could have searched that online, right? Like you want them to really feel like you gave them something that they couldn't have gotten anywhere else. I know I downloaded or did a freebie one time. It was like a course, and I was so overwhelmed with how much information she gave me in that course that I immediately bought into like a $700 and some thing, because I was just like, wow, Jessica's nodding. You've done that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're just like, whoa, this person delivers so much value for free. So that's the effect that you want to have. And people do, and I know we've talked about this before, people do service providing for, freebies, but I'm not a big fan of that just because then it's literally your time exchanging. Mm-hmm. If it's something that can be done more on autopilot or something that can be auto sent to them, that's the best. And then for people who've gone through that and who are, more interested at that point, that's when you can maybe do a consultation or something. But yeah, what else do you think people might be interested in for design, like free-wise?
I think logo is a big one.
Mm-hmm. Because that's where people start.
Yeah.
And people who don't know anything about design, they don't even really know that they need a color scheme. They don't really know that they logo and website. Most people know they need that for their business.
Maybe like a brand checklist. Like these are the elements you have to have in your brand kit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Something I think is this might be slightly more advanced, but I feel like the dimensions are always changing. And I know when you did the header for me after you did headshots for me, remember we had to do all this work to configure it on both a phone and a desktop. And most people don't know anything about that. And so they'll design it for one and then it looks horrible on the other one. So, maybe like a little kit that was like, here are all the exact dimensions you need to populate your social media. So for Facebook, for Instagram, for YouTube, Twitter, like if it had all of them and it had the exact dimensions to make it look good on both your phone and your desktop, and that it was up to date. Like I would literally I would change it every month. I would say like May 2021, June 2021, because I know I've searched that in Google before and I found them, but they're from 2020. And I'm like, I feel like it's changed. I feel like it's different. Or it's from like 2019 or something. And so if somebody searched that and yours was the newest date, then they're going to click on yours. So, and I would say that that date thing is true for anything that's anything technology, is going to change by the date. And and if you have a video that you can even do to talk about that, one thing people don't realize is YouTube is the second largest search engine. There's Google and there's YouTube. And the cool thing about YouTube is that it's I can't remember the percentages, but basically something like 80 or 90% of the users on YouTube are content consumers, not creators. And Facebook and 100% of the users on Facebook are content creators and consumers. If you know what that means, like basically everybody on Facebook is posting for the most part and also reading. but most of the people on YouTube never post anything. Like, think about it. Like, do you ever post anything on YouTube? You just watch YouTube. You don't post anything on it. And so it may seem like there's a lot of content on YouTube, but it's from a very small amount of people. So there might be, I don't know, say there's like 100 people posting on YouTube. Yeah, they've each posted like 500 videos. So there's a lot of videos, but there's like, 1,000 people on YouTube and only 100 of them are creating, for example.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a perception thing we have against it. But if you are able to create a video, even when people search on Google for that topic, if there's a video that has that exact search phrase that they just searched for, it's going to pop up in the Google search before anything else, because video pops up at the top. And so, and a lot of people would prefer to just watch something, especially if your video is less than 5 minutes. They're going to be like, oh, I can learn this in less than 5 minutes and not have to read an article. Great. And they'll click on it. And then if you have closed captions, then they don't even have to turn their sound on, and they can do it at work and nobody knows that they're doing that.
I can teach you all the ways not to do captions.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trial
Yeah.
I think I speak for a lot of people I know and through the Hive that are in a particular industry or business model that it's pretty easy to get away with not having to do some of the I call it business adulting, like 201 things. But what happens with every single one of them is you grow to a point where it's non-negotiable. In order to exceed beyond that cap, you need to do that kind of business adulting 201 stuff, whether it be LLC or just more website, some of the things that are on this list. And so that's kind of where I've been at of trying to, and again, time is the greatest resource. So trying to balance doing the big things, but time-wise, it's kind of been so I know there's a lot of people that are kind of in that boat as well. So I think this will be really valuable.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's, but I challenge you to think, because there are so many people in that boat that are able to operate, on the side, right, without the LLC and all the official stuff, is like, how cool that you've risen to the top of that, and now you get to break through that almost glass ceiling into this official business world, right? And like, now you're one of actually very few people in those industries that would actually take those steps. And so they say that one of the keys to success, isn't being smarter than anybody else, isn't being more talented than anybody else. It's being consistent, and it's just keeping moving forward. Take a step, take a step, take a step, because the vast majority of people, they play small and they give up easily. I mean, really, most people. And that's why we were talking last night at or yesterday afternoon at the Bees and Best Club. And we were like, how come more women don't want to come to this? Gosh. And Kristen was saying, she's like, she showed us her spreadsheet over how by buying one duplex for, she put $37,000 down on it. In a couple of years, she was able to refinance that one, and without any money down, buy 2 more duplexes. And then in 15 years, if she refinances those, buy 3 more duplexes, and keeps doing that every 15 years, she would literally make $11 million. $11 million. But people aren't willing to do that work. They would rather be like, I'm just gonna do a 401k or an IRA. I'm gonna make 9% consistently every year. Although some years it may be horrible, like 1%, and some years it may be like 30%. I don't know. It's the stock market, but they're willing to just set it and forget it and go about their daily life because they're not willing to do the work. And if you're willing to do the work, and that's what really entrepreneurship is, it's not easy. But there is lots of work, but it does afford you time, freedom, and flexibility that you can't get anywhere else. And all of us who have worked for other people and had bosses that we hated and didn't enjoy that, you can't get that anywhere else in the same way that you can entrepreneurship. And that's why it's worth it to me. But it's definitely not it's not the easiest thing to do. There's definitely easier things to do, but it's also the only place, I think, where you have the potential to make exponential amount of money. You know, yeah, like I get a little bit jealous sometimes when I hear people talk about like getting their raises or like having their paid vacation or having their like health insurance coverage that covers all these things. But then I don't really feel that jealous when I think about how they have to go to work every single day for these hours and do something that somebody else wants them to do, and they get like, you know, very minimal time to themselves. They can't just take off and go when they want to. And I don't know. It's always worth it to me in the end.
And I think it's less evolving, like your business evolves more so than
It's interesting.
if you have like a very specific place you plug into. So
yeah, I find it interesting. It's endlessly interesting.
yeah.
You don't get bored.
Yeah. I mean, and you're doing more different, diverse
You wear all
activities.
the hats.
Like the hats.
Yeah, I think it keeps us younger. There may be more stress, but it also, it keeps your brain working all the time. I mean, my parents have been entrepreneurs, and my grandparents were, and my mom is 72, and they're just now kind of retiring. But I honestly do think it's kept her young because she had to think. She had to be critical thinking all the time. You know, and if she would have been in a normal job, she might have retired in her 50s or 60s. But I've seen what happens to people sometimes when they retire and they just don't have anything going on. They just sit and watch TV for like the next 20 or 30 years. And I don't want to do that. Like I'd rather work until I'm 70, you know, in something I enjoy doing and that challenges me and makes me think. But not everybody's like that, and that's okay. That's okay. Like we need you know, engineers, and we need teachers, and we need, you know, every job. So I kind of hope those people never like wake up and be like, oh, I just want to be an entrepreneur. Because if everybody was an entrepreneur, like it wouldn't work. The entrepreneurs have to have employees. So, yep. What else, guys?
Do you think that people want to buy services like mine from the website? Like buy my services from the website?
I don't think I would. I think if I were going to hire a designer, I would definitely want to book a consultation, talk to you, help you figure out what package is right for me, and then have you send me an invoice. The only thing I would see people maybe buying from the website, it might be like a logo design or something like that, but I feel like even if they buy it from the website, immediately they're going to want to talk to you. And I feel like it can almost be kind of scary for people to like purchase a website design from your website, and then if you don't have an auto email set up that like makes an appointment for them and does all that, then to kind of be like, oh my gosh, I just gave you X amount of money, and like, am I going to talk to you? Like, when do I get to talk to you? Like, I'm ready to do this now. And it almost makes them feel like they should be able to like do it right now, almost like Amazon shipping, right? And you know, then they might talk to you and you're like, well, I'm actually scheduled 2 weeks out or a month out, and then they could be annoyed because they're like, well, I already bought it, and what if I didn't want? I feel like it opens up doors of a lot of potential troubles. So I'm a fan, and I know Jessica is too, of having your pricing on your website, because people do like to window shop, and honestly, you don't want people really contacting you and wasting your time if you're not in their budget. You know what I mean? So I think it kind of eliminates a lot of that, because people are only going to call you if they've looked at your website, they saw your price, and now they know that they're going to work with you. So I think having pricing is great, and then you could even have buttons by the pricing that has like book a time specifically to talk about this, and then if it were connected to your Acuity or Calendly, and it told you already what they were planning to purchase. So like if it was like book a call to you know, to discuss and, you know, purchase your logo redesign or something. And then it went to a calendar that was like logo redesign consult, versus the other one would go to a calendar that said like branding redesign, you know, consult. And then that way, when it shows up on your calendar, you already know like, hey, this person wants to talk about their logo, and maybe it had questions specific to that. That would make me feel better as a client. I would even be willing to put down maybe like a deposit to hold my time, right? So like if it said like, in order to book this consult, I do take a $50 deposit that will go towards whatever services you book for me. So even if you choose not to do a logo design, even if you do a branding or whatever we decide together is the best fit, it'll go towards that. Kind of like the Martin Pringle event.
I like that.
Yeah, that way it's not wasting your time. You've collected some money from them. And the other thing is, because you've collected money from them, you now have their card on file. So when they do book something to you, you can say it with you. You can say, would you like me to go ahead and just charge that amount to the card on file? And then that way it's done and you're paid. Because I know in services, that's a big thing, like tracking down people to get them to pay you. And I always recommend like at least taking a 50% deposit, you know. I wouldn't say you need to do a 50% for have them book the consult, maybe like a $50 or something to book the consult and then have that go towards the rest. But yeah.
I think it's definitely a relationship business, and just knowing you, I think it's communicating the soul of your brand. I think it's the face of the soul of a brand. So I think that does take getting to know someone.
Yeah.
That you can't always do on a website. For some people.
Yeah. Yeah, we very seldom have people, I mean, you can purchase through our website memberships, but we very seldom have people do that right now. Actually, when it happens, we're all like, oh, what do we do? We're like, we haven't met this person. I feel like I need to call them. Oh, she didn't give her phone number. Okay. We literally had this discussion earlier today. We're like, should we email her? We're gonna email her. I have an auto email that goes out that tells them everything they need to know. It tells them how to access the door and how to do all this, but it's always this moment of like, so I would imagine it was still kind of similar if somebody was just like, purchase logo design, and then you're like, oh, okay, they've paid me, but now what if I can't get a hold of them? And like, how do I know exactly what they're wanting? And I don't know. That's just me though. I'm very relationship based in my business. I hope eventually people start buying the Grow Your Hive online, but when it comes to co-working, I still get super weird. And if somebody purchased a private office online, I don't even know what I would do. I'd be like, but you haven't seen it. Like, don't you want to see it? Come in and look at it, please. So
maybe I can make a video about let's build a relationship or something like that, since that's, you say that's more like how you would see somebody wanting a relationship to build their branding.
I think, I think anytime you can do videos on your website for a service-based business is awesome. Like, people want to see you. Like, I really should have one on mine. I used to have one when we first started, and I kind of told our story, but I probably need to add one and like add my team in there, you know, like, hey, you know, this is who you'll meet when you come in and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could walk through.
I mean, we have a video tour, but it's old. Like, it has our old table. I need to update it. To see, even like a plumber with a broken toilet. I always talk about like, you do all these things, and I need to do that on my own website. But it's testament to that you can run a business even if these things aren't perfect. You can run a thriving business even if these things aren't perfect.
Yeah.
And you know, it's go ahead and put it out there and then tweak it each time you have time. You know, make it better. That's, I think, with videos especially, and you guys know about this, people online might not. There's an app called Bigvu, Bigvu, and it's amazing because you can load a transcript in there. Like, you can write what you want to say, load it in there, and then literally read it off of there. And there's a way to do it to where it sounds pretty natural, like it looks pretty natural. So I use that a lot for any of my kind of scripted videos that I want to put like on my website, or, you know, for a course sometimes, things like that. Just helps you make sure that you say what you want to say and you're not going too long, blabbing away. So. I always say, think about yourself. Like, if you were your own client, like if you were going into this situation, what would you want? You know, if you landed on somebody's website and you were about to purchase from this person, what would you want? Like, what has made you purchase in the past from people? What has made you purchase in the past? That's a big difference, right? What made you pull out your credit card? And for me, it's been testimonials. When I see testimonials from real people, I like video testimonials because you know it's the real person. I feel like a text testimonial, they could put anybody's picture and name there and fake it, you know? Video testimonials, that's very real. And when I see a lot of them, I'm always like, whoa, okay, this person must be legitimate. Like, they've got so many people that have written about them. I love the screenshots of actual comments from social media, because those look very real also. Like, that's more, I would prefer that over like a written testimonial with just a picture. You guys saw me do it on like my Boost Your Reach landing page and stuff. So like anytime anybody messages you and it's like, oh my God, I love my design, it's so great, screenshot with like their picture and like the message, you know, it's probably a good idea to ask them. Like, I usually don't, but most of my people are pretty cool about it all. But obviously, if it's within a personal message and there's any personal information, you need to block that out. But if it's a comment on social media, like, that's already public most of the time, so you can screenshot those, and that just like literally upload it as a picture to your website. They call it all social proof because we're social creatures and we're most likely to buy when somebody we know has recommended. It literally happened this morning. I mean, Rita's been in the Hive for a few months now, 5 months maybe. And I've been like, I've been like, I don't really do waxing. Like, I think she's amazing. I hear amazing things about her. And I'm like, I don't really wax anything. And then I was like, I used to do eyebrow threading, but I don't know if I need to. And then yesterday, both Jessica and Sarah, both my assistants, got their eyebrows waxed, and they came in today, and I was like, okay, okay, I'm doing it. And they were like, oh my gosh, it was such a great experience, and she told me how to do this, and she, you know, did the liner and like filled them in and everything, and taught me how to do it while she was doing it or whatever. And I was like, okay. So then I literally messaged her and I was like, okay, when can you get me in? And that's social proof. That's literally the same thing as somebody gushing about you on social media and you screenshotting it. Even though they don't know this person, they almost get into this mindset of like, oh, it's like my friend telling me all about this person and how cool it is. And that's the number one thing that makes people buy. I think there's a statistic about it. It's like I don't know, I won't say it, but it's a really high percentage that's going to buy based on a recommendation. So.
This may or not be related, but I think I'm breaking a rule here because sometimes I'll share content on my business page and it's the same content on my personal page because I'm like trying to blast the message, and maybe that's probably not appropriate.
So yeah, so technically and legally, like within Facebook, you're not supposed to share business content on your personal profile.
Okay.
What I've noticed in the algorithm is whether it's on your personal profile or your business, but especially on your personal profile, if it includes any link to anything off of Facebook, it will get pretty much zero reach.
Yeah.
And that's because Facebook wants to keep you on Facebook. It makes sense. And so if you are going to talk about anything, absolutely don't include a link in the actual post. If you can put a link in the comments, that sometimes you can get away with that, like have it be the first comment. But if you mention that you're putting a link in the comments in the post, which you typically want to do, otherwise they don't know it's there, then it still will bump your reach down. I usually get, when I post a picture on my personal profile, I get anywhere from 50 to 100 likes. Recently I posted a picture of a private office just to kind of remind people that we have some private offices open and just like share with my friends. I got 8 likes. So I know the reach was way down from what it usually is. And it's because I put link in the comments, you know. So if I had just posted pictures of the office and I had just said oh, it's so great to have my own, probably if I said your, it would, ding it as well. It's so great to have my own office in downtown Wichita. Look how cute it is. It probably would have gotten 100 likes. It probably would have gotten big reach. just because like it would have been more authentic, like more real,
Yeah.
you know, like he would be posting on Facebook. So if you are going to post anything business on your personal, like read it as if you're trying to make sure that you couldn't tell it's a business, and then you'll probably get away with it. But if you can tell it's a business, if you can sniff it out, if there's any sort of CTA, call to action, anything like that, you're probably not going to get any reach, and you might even get in trouble for it. On your business pages, you can link outside of Facebook, you know, there, but that's going to be a minimal reach probably. And I would just say reach in general on business pages is just pretty dismal now.
So would you only add links in like if it was a paid ad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Or if you're planning to boost that post, so you could go ahead and
Yeah.
post it and then boost the post.
Okay.
Or
So unless
run a
I'm
post
paying
as an ad.
them, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, which, you know, like you can't wrong them for that. Like it makes sense. Like Facebook is a social platform. It's meant for people to get on there and look at pictures of their friends' babies and their friends' weddings and, you know, their friends' vacations. It's not meant to be advertised to, and that's why they had ads, like, so that, you know, the only thing you're seeing from businesses, unless you love a business. So if somebody has literally liked and loved and commented on almost every post that you've done ever, they're going to see all your posts organically because Facebook's like, oh, this person really likes to follow their cousin's bakery, so we're going to show them their cousin's bakery, right? So if you want people to see your stuff organically, you know, you can in person encourage them to like, hey, if you want to see my stuff more, like just like go on my page and like some of my posts, comment on a few things, and make sure you change it from following to like following everything, like see all posts. So you can have people switch that. So that will help, you know. Like my cousin Jill Hatton, I do her social media. She has a page instead of a profile. So she, it's just Jill Hatton, but it's a page. And we consistently get anywhere from 100 to 300 likes on every post she does. But it's because everybody follows it as if it's her profile. And so they comment, they like, they don't really anymore see the difference. So we've been able to get away with it being a page and doing a lot of that stuff, but we never post links. You know, we're very authentic. It's very real. It's as if it was her Facebook page profile. And so we're able to get away with that. So we run an ad every now and then for like likes to build the reach. But we don't ever really boost the post or anything because we don't have to.
That is a good question. I've been stuck in the same 100 for a long time. What is some efficient ways to get your page likes up?
I mean, the only way I know to do it, other than like, you know, you can encourage people. So something we used to do at the Hive is like when we had our new member parties, we did like a bingo.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you had to like the page and write a review and that kind of thing. So that helped. I mean, that got our reviews, doing that kind of thing got our reviews on Google up to like 60. And I encouraged people to like the page and that kind of thing. So you can do that, you know, as you have clients, like encourage them to do it. But the only real way I know to grow it is to run a likes campaign, because even if you run ads, think about what somebody'd have to do to like your page. They'd have to click on your ad, not just on your ad, they'd have to click like on your name on your ad, go to your page and then hit like. They're not going to do that. Yeah. Like most people aren't going to do that.
Clicks.
Like, do you do that? Like we don't do that, right? For pages. And so a likes campaign is different than a regular ad because it actually has the like button right there. And it, you know, invites people to like the page. But the thing about, you know, you can run likes campaigns to local audiences. It just costs more. Yeah. So you can run so if you're trying to get vanity metrics, and I do recommend people, you know, get to 1,000 vanity
metrics. I love it.
I mean, I do recommend people get to 1,000 with cheap likes, because why pay more, you know, to get to 1,000 just for numbers. So I do recommend you try to get to 1,000 with cheap likes, and you can run those to other countries, and you can get them for probably like 30 cents, you can get them as low as 4 cents a like, to try to get you to 1,000. And then once you're at 1,000, I would never run one of those again. Like just never would. I would only run to local audiences or people who would actually be interested in your stuff. And that's the ones that you're going to pay anywhere from 40 cents to $1 a like. But if you think about it, you know, it's like, say you pay $1, say you pay $100 to get 100 likes, and say you do that once a quarter. That's just like built into your marketing campaign. then every year you're building it by 400 likes consistently, and it just goes up. And then over time, you're reaching more and more people organically, and you're having to pay less on other ads because you've got a bigger organic following. Like I said about Jill, she has almost 10,000 followers. And so, you know, you want to get anywhere from 100 to 300 likes on a post, you're probably going to have like 10,000 followers. I mean, it's a numbers game as far as like getting organic reach. So
yeah, it's unreal how few likes I get on my posts on my business page.
And it's nothing about you. It's literally the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing personal. You know?
The likes of your post or the
Of
likes
my
for your
posts,
page?
of my posts,
Of
on my
your
public
post, okay.
page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm a friend of yours and
Yeah.
I follow your page. I never see it.
Yeah.
And that's why, right?
Mhm.
That's why we never, you don't get likes. Because if I saw your posts come across my page, I'd like them. But am I going to go out of my way and go to the page and like go like your post? Probably not, because I've got 200 members to do that for. That's a lot to do. But if it comes across my newsfeed, I'll like it. And I think most of your friends and family and clients would do that.
So to spark that, like to get that going again, should I run some boosts? Should I run some ads? Just every day.
I mean, it can't hurt for sure. Like, I always, you know, I think it's a good idea because it's so easy to just get kind of in the day-to-day and forget to have strategy in place. So pick a number, whether it's $30 a month, which would be like $1 a day, or $100 a month, or $500 a month, whatever your budget is, that you're just going to put towards social media advertising. And then you can kind of play with it. You can say, okay, I'm going to use, you know, $30 a month, just make sure I have a retargeting campaign going at all times.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to spend another, you know, $20 every month on boosting posts. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the $50 a month on running to a freebie offer, right? So however you want to divvy it up, but just in your head, it's almost like it's like a Zoom subscription or something, right? It's almost like I'm just going to spend that much every month on ads, and then I'll know that it's taken care of.
Yeah.
Like we're just about to run a Google search campaign. I forget what they call them, Google AdWords, I guess. And it targets like 100 different phrases or something that people might search into Google, so that will pop up as a, you know, competitor. And that's just because one of our competitors started doing it, and they started targeting our name, like our literal name. So when you search our name, one of our competitors pops up as like before us in a sponsor. So I was like, okay, we probably need to like actually put some money behind doing some search ads, because we never had to before. Because you searched co-working Wichita, we popped up on like the second one. But you know, now that we have more competitors in the area, like naturally, there's going to be, you know, things that you have to do differently. So, and the same is true with running ads on Facebook. So say you're in an industry that nobody else is running ads on. Woo, yay! You're going to get really cheap ads. But if you're in an industry that everybody else is running ads to the same audiences, you're going to have to pay more to have people see that, because you have to outbid them.
Yeah.
You know, so say you're targeting, say it's real, like say pregnant women in Wichita, Kansas, between the ages of, you know, 25 and 35 are like a hot commodity. Everybody's advertising to them. Everybody wants them. It's almost like the Super Bowl spot, the Super Bowl commercial spot, right? You want a commercial during like the hottest part of the game, right? Everybody's watching the halftime show. So I want a commercial in the middle of the halftime show or something. That's going to cost you a lot more than having a commercial at like 9 a.m. on Super Bowl Sunday, right? So it's going to cost you a lot more to reach like an audience that everybody else wants to target. So just something to think about. So
do you do social media like audits?
I can, yeah. I mean, literally for that hourly rate, we can do anything you want.
And you're a doer. You get stuff done.
You get stuff done. So like, I will sit with you. You have me for an hour privately. So like, rather than just coming here and let's talk more generally about business, you have me for an hour to yourself that we can sit there and do whatever you want. Like with Dawn in the past, like we've written her videos for her. Like we've written transcripts of like what she wants to write, or like what she wants to say. You know, we've done Facebook ads. You know, we've done a likes campaign, whatever. Like to me, I don't really charge based on like what the service is. Like it's just more to me based on my time, because I want to empower you to do it on your own. Like I never want to do your ads for you. I never want to write your transcripts for you unless you're there with me. And so that it doesn't behoove me to charge differently for those things, because really all that it is to me is my time. So that's what an hour of my time is for you guys. You know, for the public it's more, because I don't enjoy spending time with the public as much as I enjoy spending time with you. So I charge you less. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me for the business coaching. I'll be doing it every month, the second Friday of the month, 12 to 1. So if you come here in person, you can ask me your questions and get live coached like these ladies did. And again, if you're remote, if you'll just put any questions in the event, then I will answer them. Or if it's during the live, if you put them in the article, I will answer them there. So see you guys next time.